Let's return now to Capitol Hill, where the U.S. House yesterday voted to limit President Trump from further military action in Iran. One of the Republicans who voted for that resolution is Congressman Fitzpatrick of Pennsylvania. He joins us now. Congressman, it's good to see you. Welcome back to the News Hour.
Thanks for having me.
So we reported earlier you were one of 4 House Republicans to vote for that Iran war powers bill. You did vote against it earlier in the year, in March and in April. You changed your vote to yes in May and again last night. So why the change? Why support that now?
Yeah, it's very simple. It's following the law. The War Powers Act of 1973 has 2 essential requirements: 48-hour notification in advance and within 60 days of hostilities commencing approval by Congress. So as soon as we hit that 60-day mark, every resolution that's been brought to the floor I've supported. It's just a simple, basic matter of following the law. Some people complain about the War Powers Act of '73. There's 2 choices. You follow the law or you change it. You can't violate it. That's not an option.
So you don't seem to buy the president's argument then that the clock had stopped when the ceasefire was declared. But I'm sure you saw the president react to you and the other yes votes. He called you bad Republicans and grandstanders. He said, why would you do, rather, who would do such an unpatriotic thing? What's your response to that?
Well, I think following the law is very patriotic. And listen, we get criticized all the time in this job. You can't let that affect your focus. I report to no person or no party in Washington, D.C. I work for the people back home in Bucks and Montgomery counties of Pennsylvania, Pennsylvania's 1st Congressional District. They're my bosses. I listen to them intently, and my job is to reflect their voice here on the House floor, and I'm going to continue to do that.
So this measure is specific to military action in Iran, but we have heard the president threaten to use military action in other places, like Cuba. I'm just curious if you believe that the president needs congressional approval before any potential military action in Cuba.
Yeah, again, follow the law, right? We have a War Powers Act that spells this out. By the way, unfortunately, many presidents that have preceded this one have violated it as well. I was not in Congress then. I am in Congress now, and I'm going to enforce the law now. Under President Obama, we had Libya. Under President Clinton, we had Bosnia and Kosovo. Under President George H.W. Bush, we had Panama. What we've seen consistently is the executive branch tends to take a view of the War Powers Act of 1973 that's most deferential to Article 2, to the executive branch. But we have 3 branches of government in this country. I work for the legislative branch. We have to be a separate, independent constitutional check on the other branches of government, including the executive branch. So it's pretty basic for me. Follow the law.
While I have you, I want to ask you, as a member of the House Intelligence Committee as well, we've heard the president say that he will name Bill Pulte as his new director of national intelligence to replace Tulsi Gabbard. The president said today that it wouldn't be on a permanent basis. As you well know, Pulte is now head of a federal housing finance agency. He doesn't seem to have any kind of intelligence background at all. So permanent or not, do you believe he's qualified to serve in that role?
I do not, no.
So what do you make of the president's plans to push ahead with this, even if it is on an acting basis? Does that worry you about the integrity of the job for the top intelligence official in the country?
Of course. You always want somebody with a background in intelligence. I've been in the intelligence community for 15 years as an FBI agent prior to coming here, and now as the chairman of the CIA subcommittee on the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence. These are serious jobs. They require people with a background in the subject matter. We have a lot of issues, including FISA Section 702 that we're debating right now, that the Director of National Intelligence has a significant voice in. So yes, you always want someone with a background. I've spent my whole life in the IC. So I think that, I answer the question. I think that he's not qualified to do it. The president appointed him purportedly on an acting basis, so we'll see who gets the nomination.
Do you believe there's enough Republicans who've expressed similar concerns that the president could walk back putting Bill Pulte in that job?
In terms of nominating him?
Yes.
Well, I don't think he'll get confirmed. I think that's pretty clear.
So you have concerns about Bill Pulte. What about Todd Blanche? Because we've now heard the president will actually nominate him to be officially a permanent attorney general. He's been serving in an acting role. We reported earlier on some of the headwinds he might face in the confirmation process. Do you believe he should be confirmed in a permanent role?
I do not. You know, I've been at the tip of the spear on fighting back against this so-called anti-weaponization fund. I think it was a serious abuse of authority by the acting attorney general. So much so that I introduced a bipartisan bill with Tom Suozzi, my co-chair of the Problem Solvers Caucus, to fix this instance. But moreover, we're going to go back and actually get to the root of the 1956 Federal Judgment Act. The bill is that old, that has been significantly watered down in 1961 and 63 and several points thereafter, that really migrated a lot of authority away from Article 1 Congress and towards Article 2, and gave a ton of discretion to the Attorney General, too much discretion that allows it to be abused like it was now. So we got to fix that. But to answer your question, you know, that really undermined my confidence in his judgment.
It's Congressman Brian Fitzpatrick of Pennsylvania. Congressman, so much more to talk about. We hope you'll come back and join us again soon. Thank you for your time.
You bet. Thanks.
Support journalism you trust. Support PBS News. Donate now, or even better, start a monthly contribution today.